Okay, so we go to our website and we head over to our CSS notes. So CSS is cascading style sheet. So we'll start with the basics of CSS. So you can use my website as a reference. There are lots of links. So how CSS works is you have a selector, you have a property and a value. And the property and values have to be separated by a semicolon right here. And you can have many on the same line. Again, the web browser doesn't care whether you have spaces or you format your code properly, but again, it's nice to have it formatted properly for us to read and reduce errors in our code. So this is how it works. Key value pairs, and these are curly brackets and closing curly brackets. So there are many CSS properties. You have to be able to reference them. You can memorize the basic ones. So essentially this is how it works. You can go through this and their colors and stuff like that. So I'll start with some basics. So let's say we have this is an HTML file. We saved it with a .html file extension. And CSS can happen in three ways. So let's see how this would look. Let's launch this in Chrome. Let me zoom up my web browser. So this is basically how it looks. This is all it is without style. Now let's say I wanted to make the paragraph blue. I could come in here, style equals, let's select a property, background color, oh it shows up here, and let's select blue. Let's save that, let's reload our website, and we see the background color of the paragraph is blue. And this could have been, we could have done this in the head. Now styles can go inside the head as well. So how this works, so this here is inside a paragraph here. It says attribute inside here. Now imagine you had 10 different paragraphs. You would have to, and you want to change each of those background colors to be blue. You would have to put this inline style in each of them. But let's say you had 10 paragraphs and you want to style all of them. You could come up here and you could put style, and then you can then select, remember from the format of CSS, from our notes, you have a selector, a property, and a value. So we had background color in our example as the property, and the value was blue. So we want to select the paragraph, so let's go back in here. So we have our style, and we have our select, so we want to select the paragraph, so that's going to be P, the element we want to select, paragraph. We have our curly brackets, and in here we have our property, background color, and we can make that green. Now let's say we want to have this as green, and don't forget to end it with the semicolon, and save that. And let's reload our page. Whoops. Sorry, our website. Now, notice the paragraph did not change from blue to green. The reason for that is inline styles have a higher priority than these styles up here. So, because this style is here, but let's say we had another paragraph in here, and let's say my other paragraph. Now notice we don't have any inline style in here. Let's save that. Let's refresh. So now we have another paragraph that is green. So if we were to remove this style from in here now and save that and reload, both are green now. So you can style all paragraphs here, and it's useful to have all your styles up here. So you can just look up here and see immediately what your styles will be. If you had many inline styles, you'll have to go through each individual tag and see, okay, do you have an inline style here? I mean, they can be useful if you just want to style one specific element. But if you want to style many elements, it's best to put them at the top up here. And let's say we wanted to style the whole web page well. All our visible components, the body, So we can select the body. So let's do that. We can select the body. We can then select the background. We can then give it our background color we want to edit. And we want to say make it red. Let's save that and reload. So now our website's background color is red. And what if we want to change the font color of our paragraphs? We could say we could say color. Now notice the color of the spelling of color is not O-U-R. That will not work. It's American spelling. So bear that in mind. Color is, let's make the font yellow. Save that and reload. So just like that, we can adjust our website with CSS. We could even adjust the font size. Let's say we wanted the font size. So we are just going to use pixels. You can use different units, but we'll just use pixels for now. Let's say 50 pixels, px. Now, if you're using CSS, you have to assign it units, px, no space of 50 px. And let's save that and reload. So you see we've changed our paragraph size. So this is like a word editor in code. That's what CSS and HTML really is. So you're kind of styling your website. So these are good to memorize. You want to know background color, and this is your property, and your value can be green. Now let's take a look at colors for a minute. Colors from our notes can be specified as names, as we've done: black, blue, green, easy. However, if we wanted to have a specific color value, we could specify it as RGB, and we could then mix colors. It ranges from 0 to 255. So it's RGB, red, green, blue. So we see this one will be red because red is at its maximum, and the green and blue are at 0. Similar here, and if we mix them, we can combine them to get different colors. So you can actually use a color picker, and you can read up on this. I have links to more colors, and you can use a color picker if you want to decide on a color, and to select a color here, and you can edit the color. And when you've found the color you like, you can copy this. There's another method you can use. You can specify as hue, saturation, and light. And you can use hex. Hex values are popular. You'll see a lot of hexadecimal values. RGB you might see sometimes, but hex values a lot. For now, you can just say red, blue, green. Specify them as simple colors if you want. But let's say we selected this color. We could come here, we could copy this, and we could go back to our editor. And let's change the background color to that. Let's save that. So that's a hexadecimal value. Let's go back to our website and let's reload. So now we've changed our background color by using the color picker. So that's colors in a nutshell, and there are other ways, but we can just worry about the names and RGB values. That's fine. And you can read up more on these links. But you don't have to worry too much about the colors. Once you find a color you like, that's good for you. There's a lot more to do with the color wheels and color mixing and primary colors, that sort of stuff. So now we've done a background color. So we could have specified our background all in one declaration, or we could specify it like individually how we've been doing it: background color, background image, background position. But most of the time we just want to adjust our background color. Okay, so let's say we have this style up here now. This is what we call our style sheet. So let's say we had a whole long list of styles, and it's very long. The third and final way we could introduce CSS is by creating a new file. Let's cut this out. Let's erase the style tags here, and in our new file let's paste that style in. Let's save this. Now this part is very important. Let's name it, we can name it anything we want. Let's say my CSS. The next part is very important. Dot CSS. This is not a HTML file, this is a dot CSS file. And we will save it on our desktop. So this is a CSS file. Note that we do not put style tags in here. Do not. This is a CSS file. This is not HTML. You do not put any HTML in CSS files. So you can specify as many styles as you want in here. So let's say this was a long list of styles. It's pretty useful if we have a lot of styles. So we can save this. Now let's head back over to the website and let's scroll all the way to the top. So this is known as external CSS file. So how we do that, we can come here, copy this link, and let's go in here into our HTML file we want to put the style in. Let's paste that in now. What this is like a reference to the CSS file so that your website or your HTML file will know where that CSS file is. So the format is just a link. Then this is relate. It relates to a style sheet. And type is text/CSS. So these you just can copy these. And href. This is now the file path to the location of your CSS file. Now I named it mycss.css. And we save that, and then we go back and we reload. So we know we've imported it correctly. Now, let's say I made a mistake in my file path or file name. Let's say I left off the C here, and we save that, and we reload. You see all my styles disappear, and we don't know why. Let's say Ctrl-Shift-I, and we go to the console. We see it says failed to load resource. Net error not found. My css.cs1 did not find this on the desktop. The reason is it doesn't exist. It is a CSS file, so we must ensure that our file path is correct. So how this will work usually on a website. Let me just close this off just to show you how these things will work. Usually we will have, and this is what our CSS file looks like. Now we see it's of a CSS file. It appears like this, and this is our index file. Now, if we're preparing our website to upload to our web server, what we can do is create a new folder. Let's call it my web new. You can call it anything you want. I just putting everything in here. And let's say I'm gonna put my whole website here. So now I'm in here. So we have these two files, and it will work. It will work. Good. Now let's say I wanted to organize my website. So I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it CSS. So I might have multiple different CSS files I'm using. Now I drop that file in there. Now my site will not work because it can't find the files anymore. So it can't find the CSS file because I now moved it. It's not in the same folder as the, if I reload this, it's not in the same folder as the file. So now I have to update the location. So I'm gonna do CSS / and save that, because I know with relation to this it's in the CSS folder. It's in my CSS, so we can see it's CSS and it's in here. So now we reload this and it finds it. And the usefulness of having an external style sheet, let's say I had another CSS file. I'm just going to copy this just to be quick. And let's save this in here as my second page dot html. Save that. And let's say let's say my page, and let's just, yeah, that's good. Save that. Now you see we can import that one style sheet into multiple HTML files, so that's another useful um, reason to have external style sheets. You can reuse them into many different websites, so you can start as many websites as you want by just having one CSS file. That is cool. And if we were to launch this just to show it works, my second page, and we know that is only one CSS file we have. So for example, if we take a look at the Butry schools, we have different style sheets, and they use, I guess, JavaScript to change it on the fly. So when I click this button, and you see how the website changes. This is it with no styling, just plain HTML. But by changing the style sheet, we can make the web page look very different. So you see, this is a different style sheet, and this is with no styles, so that's cool as well.